Hello. Today I want to talk about Dylan. I feel like he's a great student. He's exceptionally sweet. I feel like Dylan. He's very smart. When I first encountered him, it took him a minute to open up to me. But once we settled down and we started opening up our assessments, he opened up to me. He's a very very wonderful kid. I just want to start off by saying that Dylan can do a lot. Dylan can spell, which is exceptionally fantastic for first grade. Dylan can spell. Dylan can read. He knows the concept of rhyme. He uses meaning, structure, and visual cues during his reading. Dylan can sound out words. He can decode words. He can even, when he's reading a word, he can place another word in front of it and it still makes sense, which is really good during his early literacy. Today I want to talk about a few things just two things that I want to work with Dylan on to help his learning further. The first thing is writing vocabulary. When we did this assessment, Dylan, he wrote some words for me, and he wrote these words here. And he wrote, I don't know if you can see here, but he wrote 23. He got 22 out of the 23 words he wrote correct, which is amazing. That means Dylan knows how to spell. He can get the first part of a word, and he can get the last part of a word, and he can also get the middle of it as well. The thing that we had here, we had 10 minutes to do this in, and I feel like Dylan needs more practice with vocabulary. I feel like he needs to open up. He needs more practice with more words. I feel like he needs games. At center time, we need to incorporate more games with him, because I feel like it took him a minute to think of words because he didn't have them off the top of his head, which leads me to believe that he knows how to spell. He knows, but he just has trouble remembering, like, what can I spell, So I want to give him more practice with word work. I want him to be able to, next time we assess him, I want him to just be able to just fly through this and just jot down as many words as he can, because during this assessment I had to prompt him a couple of words, but he knew how to spell those words. He just needed that reminder. So that's really good as well with him. He really can spell words. He just needs that additional practice with words. Another thing that I want to work on with him is his reading level. I feel that Dylan is above the reading level that he's currently at. I think we just need to push him a little bit more. When he first read Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus by Mo Willems, he read this book with expression, intonation, pitch, fluency. He read this book amazingly. I enjoyed him reading this. But when he came to, with this book, he scored in the 98th percentile. He only got 3 miscues during this book, which is fabulous, So I think that this book was too easy for him, And so the next book we read was The Rain Came Down. Now, this book Dylan read, he knew the words, but I felt like his stamina was a little lower, because when he read this book doesn't have many words on the page. It's very, it's just cut and dry, And this book, it has a lot more words on the pages. This book has 403 words, and he had 13 miscues, which actually put him in the 96th percentile, which actually makes this book an easy book as well for him. But for me personally, he read this book really fast. He was trying to hurry up and get through the book because he was tired. His stamina, he was worn out through the middle of the book. I remember during him reading it, he said, "Can I go get a drink?" He did that twice, and he was just like, and he also commented during the book, "It's a long book," like he thought the ending was coming, And Dylan can read, but the thing is, his stamina needs to build up, and he needs to, since we were assessing, I couldn't, guide him through the book, but I feel like if we give him more books of this caliber, he will be able to fly through them, and then with that fluency and pitch will come into play once he has more practice with this. I feel like his books that he's reading now are way too easy for him. He needs longer books. So with this, I want to challenge him. I want when it's reading time, I want to give him more opportunities to read. And I also want to give him more opportunities to play with challenging books. And I want to guide him. I want to have guiding reading sessions with him, just he and I want to walk him through the book, and I want to tell him when he makes a miscue, I want him to say, hey, go back and read that portion for me. Think of it. Use your commas, use your period, use your punctuation. And read this book. Take your time and comprehend it. Because I felt like when he read, he just zoomed through this book. He was tired. He was out of breath. He said, I just want to get done with it, And I think that's where a lot of his errors came into play. I feel like he could have read this book at a 98% as well with this. Maybe even 100%. I do not doubt that. But I think the point is he just read through this fast because but when he was reading this text, he used meaning, structure, and visual cues to decode the words that he didn't know. And then the words that he skipped, it was just common errors. It wasn't that he didn't know the word at all. And so those are the two things that I want to work with Dylan over the next a few weeks. Is I want to give him more words. I want to build up his vocabulary because I feel like he knows more than 22 words. I know for a fact he does. I just want to give him that extra support so that when we reassess, he'll have words all over the page. He does know how to spell, so that's not a problem. The problem is to get the point where we want is to build up his vocabulary. And the second thing I want to do is I want to challenge him. I want to give him more text, more upper level text that I know he can read because he can read. He read this book fine. It was just really long for him. So those are my two things that I want to do with Dylan. Thank you.